After the speculation of the last weeks and months, we finally seem to have the first real photos of the upcoming GoPro Hero 13. But it's not just photos of the Hero 13 that have been leaked, but also pictures of new accessories and images of another camera. And that's perhaps the more interesting information of this leak. In addition to the Hero 13, there will probably be another GoPro this year. There also seems to be information about the release date. It's interesting that this time the leak was not spread via X by one of the usual leakers. Instead, all the photos and information were published on a GoPro product page on Amazon. As always with leaks, all information should be taken with a grain of salt, but the photos look very realistic. Personally, I believe that these leaks are intentional and planned to increase anticipation and hype, and of course also to prevent potential customers from buying a previously released camera. You may have heard that the DJI Action 5 Pro is expected to be released on the 28th of August. However, this has not been fully confirmed either. But let's stick with GoPro and take a look at what we can learn about the GoPro Hero 13 first. The GoPro Hero 13 looks almost identical to its predecessor models. Unlike the Hero 12, however, it does not have the blue dotted surface. Apart from that, you can see from this enlarged image that the Hero 13 has a ripped surface on the front under the lens. This probably has the function of dissipating the heat a little better. Various users have also repeatedly complained about overheating in connection with the Hero 12. This new surface could therefore improve the overheating problem. Of course, it's difficult to say whether the changed surface indicates a higher resolution. To enable 8K, the GoPro Hero 13 would probably need a completely new sensor. As you can see from these images, there is supposed to be a new lens mod for the Hero 13. However, it's not an additional lens that expands the field of view in a similar way to the max lens mod. Rather, it's a macro lens. With the help of the macro lens, it should be possible to focus on objects that are 3 times closer than with the standard lens. This image, for example, shows a close-up of a motorcycle chain. A macro lens can of course make interesting B-roll shots possible, but personally I think that a macro lens is not an absolutely necessary accessory for an action camera. And I also hope that the lens is not as expensive as the Max Lens Mod 2 for the Hero 12. There are also additional pictures of other accessories. For example, there should also be a Max Lens Mod with an ultra-wide field of view for the Hero 13. Apart from the writing on the side, at first glance, it looks very similar to the Max Lens Mod 2 for the GoPro Hero 12. According to the writing on the side, the new lens mod is called Ultra-Wide Lens Mod. It's designed to increase the field of view to 177 degrees and improve the stabilization. 177 degrees corresponds exactly to the Max Lens Mod 2. Personally, I hope that the Max Lens Mod 2 is also compatible with the GoPro Hero 13 and that it will not be necessary to purchase a new lens mod for an extended field of view. Although the GoPro Hero 13 still has 2 fold-out fingers on the underside, photos of other accessories suggest that there should be a magnetic mount this time, similar to the competition, so as with Insta360 or DJI. There appears to be a magnetic latch ball joint mount for the Hero 13. This seems to have a fully rotating joint. There will also be a magnetic latch mount, which is rigid but can be attached magnetically. This is basically good news, as the lack of a magnetic mount has been a major drawback of GoPro cameras for me in recent years compared to the competition. But let's get to perhaps the most interesting part of the leak. In addition to a GoPro Hero 13, there will also be a smaller version of the GoPro this year. Apparently, this will simply be called the GoPro Hero, and from the pictures, the design is very similar to the GoPro Hero 11 Mini. It was actually thought that GoPro had abandoned the Mini concept, because there was no longer a Hero 12 Mini. The Hero 11 Mini had the same sensor and the same chip as the GoPro Hero 11, but in a smaller housing. What it didn't have, however, was a proper back display. It only had a status display on the top. The new GoPro Hero, on the other hand, is now clearly supposed to have a fully fledged back display. It has a ripped surface at the front, which is probably also intended to prevent overheating. And of course, overheating is an important issue when using a smaller housing. The Hero 11 Mini also had some problems with overheating. Apart from the surface and the back display, the Hero looks very similar to the 11 Mini. But unlike the 11 Mini, the GoPro Hero has no mounting fingers on the back and the menu button is on the side and not on the front. Of course, there may be a reason why GoPro is not calling this new smaller camera the 13 mini. The reason could be, for example, that the new small camera has reduced specs. This means that there are not only differences in size, but perhaps also differences in the sensor, resolution or frame rates. According to the description, the GoPro Hero is supposed to be the smallest 4K capable GoPro camera, and it's also supposed to feature hyper-smooth stabilization and to be waterproof up to 5 meters. That description could indicate that the GoPro Hero could be a little smaller than the 11 mini, which despite the name mini, was not really small. As indicated at the beginning, there is another important piece of information. The Hero 13 and the GoPro Hero should be available from the 16th of September. At least this date can be found in the description of the mounts. That would be exactly 1 month from today. So what do you think? Unfortunately, we don't know much more about the possibly improved specs of the Hero 13 at the moment. So what exactly do you think the Hero 13 should be able to do? Are you interested in a smaller GoPro Hero? There will of course be a test of the upcoming GoPro Hero 13. So give me a like as feedback if this video was interesting for you, and see you next time.